Tonight at the Mason County Senior Activities Association in the center there, it is an open mic night. I've got three great guests in studio, Mick and Laura McCartney and Ann Flynn, all on the air talking about this. Good morning, y'all. How you doing?
Doing great.
Happy
Good
Friday
morning.
to you. And we are talking about the open mic tonight here at the center. What time does it start tonight, and what can we look forward to hearing and getting involved with?
Well, the open mic actually begins at 6 o'clock, and there'll be dinner. There's beer and wine, beverages, and other soft beverages. And we're here today to talk a little bit about what is an open mic, because an open mic isn't the same thing as some other performance venues that people are familiar with.
Sure.
An open mic is an opportunity for musicians to come out, to share their music, to test new things with each other. They're in a trusted environment where the expectations are that they're showing themselves in a way that they may not be doing in a studio.
Yeah, okay. So making perhaps themselves a little more vulnerable to the audience and things like that. You come up, put your name on a sign-up sheet. And
Yes, basically it's real communication. You know, a lot of times folks go to things like karaoke and that kind of thing where people pretend to be other people.
Yes.
And it's fun. They sing. Some folks have voices that match the range and whatnot. The difference in an open mic, it's kind of like a conversation difference between talking on a telephone where you can't see the person and having a conversation really. So when a performer gets in front of the open mic, they're expounding their truth. It's more about saying what they think or what they feel or what they've artistically put together. And then people look at it, and it's kind of a non-judgmental format. It's the kind of thing where if you agree, you agree. If you don't agree, you don't agree. It doesn't matter.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
Does it have to be with a music background, like somebody playing the guitar while they sing, or are there opportunities for poetry?
Yes, that's the beauty of it. Like there's a local poet named Mark Walmsley who worked with the Forest Service, and when he does his poems, he takes you to places that you may have touched on, but that he's lived, and it's beautiful.
Oh, well, that is beautiful.
He has one about fly fishing where you're in the river and you feel the fish. It's wonderful stuff.
Very
and then
cool.
you get comedians, and sometimes it's the delivery. We have a friend who basically reads jokes he picks off the internet, but he's so funny. He's kind of like Bob Newhart. He's one of those guys, the delivery is everything.
Yeah.
And so he'll come and he'll do a few jokes. It creates like a tapestry in people's lives. So much of our lives is just kind of like a habit trail, where you just kind of, you do this, you get up, you go to work, you do this, or you work in your garden. These are those little bright moments that, people, for one thing, get to be on stage, and how many opportunities are there to do that?
Sure, yeah.
You're a performer, so you're used to it, but most people, that's huge. I mean, they think about it for weeks beforehand.
Oh, yes.
And then they talk about it for years after,
How long are the sets for the person?
Usually 10 to 12 minutes, sometimes 15. It depends on the number of performers who show up. This one's been pretty active. We've had like 14 to 17 people show up and perform.
Wow.
So it's kind of like a variety show.
Well, another really lovely aspect to the open mic music and to other music that's very vigorous in this community is it's a collaborative kind of music, and it's spontaneous. I mean, you go to an open mic, and there might be a bass player and a fiddle player and a guitar player, and all of a sudden they've gotten together and decided they're going to do something together, and you can see them. They watch each other. It's a profoundly interactive and collaborative kind of a music, which is such a beautiful metaphor for ways to live our lives, cooperating, collaborating, feeding off of each other in a really positive aspect to make something better.
And we've had people meet and get married.
Wow.
We had the open mic at the Fresh Start Deli while it was still open.
Yeah.
And like Tom and Theta, who have the group TNT, they met there. He was singing a song she knew. She started singing. Next thing you know, they're going together, and then they got married.
Holy
now
moly.
That's
they have a group.
wonderful. What a
That's
great
something.
story.
You guys the hosts?
Yeah, we were the hosts.
And it was a beautiful,
And we're the hosts at this one, too.
it was a beautiful thing. And watching performers who've never performed in front of an audience before get up and have the courage to
Oh, yeah.
to perform for the first
or
time
like-
in their life, and it's just so much fun to watch.
Our friend Marty Plunkett, one Christmas she sang The Little Drummer Boy.
Oh yes.
And the room was pretty much filled with a lot of musicians and singers and stuff.
She
And so
sings a cappella.
And she sings a cappella, no accompaniment.
Yeah.
And she carries a tune beautifully. And she started singing, and everybody in the room started going, brum, brum. Pretty soon, it sounded like a choir.
It was,
wow.
it was
Wow.
amazing.
She lit up like a neon light.
Oh, I just got goosebumps thinking about that. That's
for
awesome.
us, it was our favorite moment,
Yes.
of running the open mic. It was
Oh,
probably the
that
best
sounds
moment.
like a lot of
But
fun.
those kind of magical things happen just because people are willing.
Yeah.
You know, or somebody's struggling with a song, and then people start singing along with them.
Right.
And the look that comes over their face when they realize that people have joined them rather than figuring out if they're good or bad, but
Right.
just join in with them, is like, oh, they light
That's
up.
great.
That's amazing.
Another aspect, too, of open mics is the opportunity to hear something so amazing that you never hear something that good again. And I personally had that experience probably 50 years ago in Boston, because I used to go to open mics on Charles Street in Boston, and listening to a couple do that song the first time. I've never heard it like that since, and I mean, it was one of the more powerful experiences, and that's something unique to open mics. I've had an experience with different songs, though, because a young man, Forrest, did such a good job on Hallelujah. It was one of the best ones. That's an often.
Oh, love that song.
I do too,
Yeah.
and Forrest just belted that
That
out,
is
and
so
it was
unique.
beautiful.
That's
I think
very
the-
cool.
I think the other thing is that the music, it isn't the format of radio stations. Forgive the inference,
It's
but,
fine.
but you know, it isn't pop. It isn't even true folk. It's in the sense of what classically is defined as folk. It's local.
Nice.
You know, and so it's different. And you'll hear things that you just never thought of. You go, oh wow, that can be done that way.
I love that
That's
kind
cool.
of stuff.
I do
That's
too.
very
What's
cool.
the range of types of instruments people bring in?
We've had everything from, we had a lady bring in a Chinese harp. It's where it has a bridge in the middle and it has these long strings. Cigar box guitars.
Vern and his
geez, Vern is-
gigantic harmonica.
Oh yeah, we have a guy with
harmonica. Yeah,
a
Vern.
4 foot long.
90-plus-year-old guy with his 4 foot long. It's just
Nice.
incredible.
Well, we've
Love
had
that.
Bold
you
psalteries.
get dulcimers, fiddle
All
players.
sorts of good stuff.
Yeah, a sitar player. I have a sitar player friend from
Oh,
Bremerton.
fun.
Oh, that's cool because the effect of the music
Yeah.
is so different.
So it's at the Senior Activities Center. Starting at 6 tonight is when the first performer. What time you think you need to get there? Start signing up. Get your name on the
Usually-
queue list.
5:30.
5:30 or so, yeah.
Let's see, 190 West Century Drive in Shelton, just up behind the Gillis Auto Center, and they online at mcsac.net. We'll put the links into the show notes, and there's food too, right?
Right.
Yes,
Food,
we'll be
drink.
serving burritos this week and coleslaw and probably a few other
Very cool.
assorted items.
Nice.
Very neat. Well, what a wonderful way to kick off a fun weekend here with
And a good lead in to our Bluegrass Festival in
That's
2
right,
weeks.
Bluegrass. Coming up
Oh, yes.
here.
I look forward to that.
Also,
as
it's
well.
all ages.
Oh, it is all ages.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
okay,
is.
that's
Yeah,
good
you
to
don't
know.
have to be.
You have to be
older.
over 21.
Well, okay. Not
Most
all
ages.
ages. From most, yeah. quite
There is a
few
wine
ages.
and beer bar.
Okay, very nice. Mick, Laura, Ann, thanks for coming on telling us about this.